Thank you, Gaia. That was beautiful. Good evening. I'm Bob Newmark, and I am the board chair of Jewish Federation of St. Louis. And it is truly good to be here with all of you. Please allow me to start by asking you to join me in a moment of silence as we remember lives lost, lives disrupted, those still in captivity, and brave IDF soldiers who are still in harm's way. Thank you. Our community has truly come together to support one another over the last 12 months. We are honored to be joined here tonight by leaders of our many congregations, community organizations, and agencies. We are also joined by many outside of our community who are here to show their own care and concern. I'm pleased to welcome many elected officials and leaders of other faith communities here in St. Louis who have joined us tonight. And thank you for all of your leadership. And I know I speak for all of us gathered here when I say your presence here tonight means so much, so very much to all of us. We gather tonight in the midst of our High Holy Days, a time of personal reflection and renewal. So please allow me, on behalf of the board and professional team at Jewish Federation, to wish all of you here tonight, and those joining by live stream as well, a happy, healthy, safe, and sweet New Year. Shana Tova. So I woke up on the morning of October 7th last year, and I immediately knew something was wrong. At the time, I was in Italy on my way to Israel. And so I was getting my news a few hours before people in the US were even awake. And the reports were somewhat scarce, but it was clear that something that had not happened in my conscious lifetime was happening. Israel was being invaded. To be fair, what happened on October 7th of last year was worse than an invasion because the invaders were not a government seeking territorial gains, and because the invaders did not follow traditional rules of engagement, seeking some measure of protecting civilians. No, as we all know too well, the invaders were terrorists, seeking to inflict unspeakable harm on innocent civilians and to traumatize the nation and the world. We gather tonight as one unified Jewish community here in St. Louis, and us in solidarity with people of goodwill all across the globe, to remember the lives lost and the lives disrupted by the ruthless and cowardly acts of Hamas, principally last October 7, but continuing every one of the 366 days since then as well. Tonight, we will pray for the survivors and the family members of those lost. We will dare to dream of a better day. And we will do all of this together, drawing strength from one another as our people have done through the ages. As you might imagine, the last 12 months have been a whirlwind at the Federation. As the central philanthropic home for this community, we knew there were needs to be met and that our community stood ready to help. When I was in Israel earlier this year, I stopped in on one program that we were able to support through the generosity of this community, a program that has a special connection to St. Louis. My visit included sitting in on a session with young Israeli men and women who had served in the IDF in Gaza and were preparing for their next deployment. These people had witnessed traumatic events in their last tour, and before they were set to deploy, they, as a unit, had spent the day working with a professionally trained counselor, unpacking some of their issues and building deeper bonds with one another. I'm sharing this with you so you know how important your support has been in the lives of our Israeli family. I witnessed deeper understanding of what had happened at critical events in their last tour of service. and I witnessed blind spots in their memories being filled in by their fellow soldiers. No other military on the planet engages in this sort of healing and PTSD prevention. And because the needs are so vast, nonprofit support is vital to reach every IDF soldier. The program we support, known as Momentum, operates under a unique contract with the IDF. And as I noted, there's a special connection with all of us because it was founded by a St. Louisan. Our financial support here opened the door for contributions from several other federations across the US and helped ensure success of the mission. We can all take pride in the role we have collectively played. So we all know that our people have faced dark times throughout our long history. And we also know from our parents and their parents before them that when darkness descends, we must be the light. It is hard to be the light in these trying times, but I am so proud of this community and our response. We are closer together as a people now, and we have a shared vision for a hopeful and better future for our people. We will continue to pray for the release of those still in captivity. We will continue to pray for the elimination of Hamas. And as hard as it is to do at times, to imagine, we will continue to pray for a world where Israel is at true peace with our neighbors. You will hear from many parts of our community tonight. As you reflect on what you hear, I hope you will also reflect on what is dear. Those in your midst who may not live where you do or belong to the same shul, who may be more or less observant than you are. Show kindness towards them. Help lift them up as we always do. We are one people with a shared history and a shared destiny. And together, we will see a better day. So through the Jewish Agency's Partnership Together program, the communities of St. Louis, Atlanta, Yokneam, Megiddo, and Nahal Oz have come together to create a deeply moving tribute to the victims of the October 7 attack and the ongoing Swords of Iron War. This collaborative project, led by our partnership office in Yokneam, Megiddo, honors 29 fallen individuals, 11 from Yokneam, Megiddo, 15 from Nahal Oz, and 3 who were connected to the US through Atlanta and St. Louis. One of them is Gilly Adar, a beloved counselor at Camp Ben Frankel in 2017, who formed meaningful connections with many of our St. Louis kids and teens. As we remember these lives, this tribute serve as a powerful reminder of the resilience, strength, and unity that bind our communities across the world. The lyrics and melody were written by Rabbi Mika Lapidus from Atlanta, with video designed by Rebecca Spewak, our St. Louis Living Bridge coordinator, and vocals by Eliad Eliyahu, our partnership director and federation representative.
Made in love, embraced with love, made in love, embraced with love. We'll dance again, and plant our vineyards on the hills again. Become love, only love, grow in love, only love will dance again, plant our vineyards on the hills. On the hills we'll dance again, dance again, and plant our vineyards on the hills we'll dance again. עוד נחזור ונרקוד בכרמים ובגבעות, עוד נחזור ונרקוד, we'll dance again. On the hills we'll dance again. עוד נחזור ונרקוד, עוד נחזור ונרקוד.
Marking the anniversary of a death, called a yahrzeit in the Jewish tradition, is one of the essential steps as a part of the Jewish communal and spiritual mourning practice. The goal is not to make things right or to fix the pain that follows a loss, simply to set aside time, as we are doing here tonight, to remember those we have lost and to gather with those who can support one another. We pause in our daily lives amongst the busyness we all experience each day, not only to show that we miss those who are gone, nor to fully feel the sorrow of their loss, but to remember them, to learn from them, to reflect how much has changed in our lives since we have lost them. One of the main traditions of the anniversary of the death is to light a yahrzeit candle, which burns for over a full day in memory of those we have lost. The symbolism comes from a verse from Proverbs that says, Ner Adonai nishmat Adam, that's the life of a person is the lamp of the Most High. Each person born into this world carries with them a precious spark that is unique to them and them alone. As we light a candle in memory of all of those who perished last year on this date, we think of all of their lives, not only the gifts they gave us, but what they could have become. We think of their families who mourn them still and are bereft at their loss. We think of one another whose lives were shattered when the attacks on October 7th of last year occurred. The lives that we mourn today, we know were cut far too short, and their absence leaves a pain that no words can be expressed. But the tragedy has also brought us here together in a community looking to reach out to one another, where people of good faith, of all faiths and no faith, can share the simple humanity of grieving a loss, of feeling pain when violence occurs, of sharing a shoulder of support, and of working to build something better. We often think when we lose those that we care for, what can we do to honor their memory? As a part of the Jewish tradition, we often say, Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. How is it that we take this moment of pain and recollection and turn it into a blessing for us and for all those we connect with. Just as a flame passed from candle to candle does not diminish its light, but rather multiplies each one it touches, so too can each of us here in standing with one another and watching from wherever we may be, and cause the light of compassion to increase around the world. The hate that ended more than 1,200 lives last October 7th can only be fought through these acts of love. These small kindnesses we show to our friends, our family, our neighbors, our colleagues, the ways we seek to understand one another and to build bigger bridges. These are the lessons we can take to move from last October 7th to this one. I hope that as we kindle this flame, it inspires us to bring more brightness into our community and the world. Let this light and the legacy we bring honor the lives of all those who were lost, those who have perished in the years since, and who are actively fighting to secure their community. Let us bring more compassion and care into this world, and let it drive out the darkness that we see all too often. May this year bring us from darkness of violence to the light of a lasting peace in Israel, here in St. Louis, and for us all. We light a candle for those we miss, for the people who they might have been, and the people they were in all of their years. We light for those who are still in darkness of captivity, for those who are suffering in this last year of war. Let us be the lights for all of them and for all of the people who dwell in this community as well. Let us be the lights that brings people together once again. It's my pleasure to welcome up our community Shinshnim and Shlichim, who are going to light this yahrzeit candle in memory of all of those who passed last October 7th.
Please rise for the El Maleh Rachamim, the memorial prayer, followed by Mourner's Kaddish. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochein Ba'meromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Ashchina, Memalot Kedoshim Utahorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazirim, Et Nishmot Achenu Bnei Israel, V'chavereinu B'Eretz HaKodesh, Shebiyom HaShabbat Chag Shmini Atzeret Tavshin Pei Daled, Nirtzachu Al Yedei Risha'im Mechablim Achzariyim Hamas V'Tomchav. Achenu b'nei Yisrael v'chavereinu shalchu li'olamam, b'gan eden tehei menuchatam. Ana balarachamim, hastirem b'seter kanafecha li'olamim, v'yitzror b'yitzror chayim et nishmatam. Adonai hu nachalatam, v'yanuchu v'shalom al mishkavotam, v'nomar amen. Exalted God, dwelling on high and full of mercy, grant true, complete rest among the holy and pure who shine like the radiance of the sky, to the souls, predominantly Jews, but also including other innocent people, who were on Shabbat of Shmini Atzeret 5784, October 7th, 2023, on that single day were savagely and cruelly murdered by Hamas and their supporters. Among them, infants, children, and elderly, parents, grandparents, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, civilians, even entire families, as well as heroic soldiers. We also recall those who have since been killed, innocent people, those murdered in captivity, soldiers and police officers. We implore you, Master of Compassion, shelter them under your protective wings, that they may forever be bound up in the bonds of life, in eternal rest in the Garden of Eden. And that as you remain ever mindful, help us and our children, their children, their children and grandchildren be ever mindful. May these innocent souls rest in peace. And together we say Amen. Our mourners Kaddish, which is certainly a prayer in which we remember our dead, but also faith in God. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ul'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Viradar vitale vitalal shemei dekudisha berichu la'ela minkol shirata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imroma u'ya'aseh shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
One year has passed since the greatest tragedy Israel has experienced since its founding and the greatest tragedy to befall the Jewish people since the Shoah. This has been an incredibly difficult year for all Jews, and especially for Israelis, both at home and in the diaspora. Standing here today, after such a challenging year, it is almost unimaginable. As of today, 101 hostages are still being held captive in Gaza by Hamas. It is our duty to remember them and to do everything within our power to fight for their release. The morning of October 7th hit me like a terrible nightmare. I woke up to the sounds of sirens in Tel Aviv, something very unusual. The sound, which I was familiar with from my military service, filled me with a fear I had never known before. A siren in my home in Tel Aviv. Something was terribly wrong. Instinctively, I turned on the TV and was horrified to see home front command alerts about massive rocket fire across the country. My thoughts immediately went to my friends who had gone to the Nova Festival the night before. And at the same moment, to my soldiers. Stationed on the borders. I had placed them there when I served as their commander in the Cyber and Communication Unit, not long before I finished my service and began working in the public sector and real estate. Who should I call first? Very quickly, I started receiving calls from worried parents who couldn't reach their children. What could I do? The uncertainty, the horrifying images, and the sounds from the news shattered me. I had never felt so hopeless in my life. As the recent commander, I had placed them there, and I should have known what to do. But in that moment, it felt like we were all on our own, using whatever resources and connection we had to help. Soon after, I established the Missing Person Command Center with the goal of gathering information and piecing together clues from people I managed to contact, videos, pictures, and I began creating a timeline. The 2 weeks that followed were unbearable, waiting for any sign to learn if my friends and soldiers were alive, safe, dead, or kidnapped. And honestly, I didn't know which answer I preferred. Funerals began to happen one after by the other. I felt like I couldn't breathe. During the Shiva for one of my friends, near 40, at 29 years old, who was murdered at the Nova Festival just a month before his 30th birthday. I began receiving videos and pictures from my friends abroad, showing them taking to the streets in support of Israel. I cannot begin to describe how much strength this gave me and everyone around me to know that Jewish communities stood by us, that they hadn't forgotten about us, and that we are all one people. Your courage to go out and show your support, even in situations that weren't always safe, and to make your voices heard, saying we stand with Israel, meant so much. It gave us the strength to focus on the good and on rebuilding what has been destroyed. Nir was a free spirit, radiating light and magic, a beautiful soul with a wise and loving heart, a true friend. If there is one thing we should take from this, it's the ability to smile, to see and appreciate the good. That's what Nir would have wanted, and it's what all the incredible souls we've lost, and there's those still held in captive by Hamas would want. Thank you for using your voice for a cause bigger than all of us. The healing process would not have been the same without your support. In the end, after all the volunteering activities I initiated or participated in, I still felt I couldn't just return to my old job and life in real estate. I felt the need to contribute more broadly and do something truly meaningful that would create a real impact to support Israel. This is when I decided to apply to be a shlicha. This would be my way to contribute and be part of something bigger. And I don't know why, but I have the feeling that I'm not the only one who felt the need to go out and do more. I believe you felt the same urge after October 7th, which has likely been burning ever since. So here I am in St. Louis, where I just arrived 1 month ago and will spend the next 2 years at the JCC as your community shlicha. We are partners in this journey to ensure a strong future for Israel and for the entire Jewish people. Thank you for being here tonight, and mostly for supporting me, my family, and all of the people of Israel during this difficult time. Am Yisrael Chai.
An Infinity of Amens by Hannah Yerushalmi.
There are no words for this moment. How are we to feel in the fires in the sand and the black rivers of loss?
And how the enemy unleashed holes on them. there are not enough memorial candles for those forced to leave the hallways of their hearts, cut down years before their time.
And now, everything, everything, everything will remember that they were there. There are no more tears for the nationwide alerts, for the crimson-stained pillowcases, for a charred red tricycle.
For a desiccated woman, a mother's
Anguish,
a father's brokenness,
for the obliteration of every single dear, treasured,
one and only life and extended universe. There are no words. Nevertheless, we gather now with wounded hearts, and we lift each other up with weary arms, and we pray with shadow spirits for shalom, peace.
reeling, rising, reciting, ancient prayers and finding our voice, whispering an infinity of amens.
On October 7th, Hirsch Goldberg Poland was captured and taken hostage. His parents, Rachel and John, have been beyond extraordinary advocates for their son and for all of the hostages. My wife went to college and to Jewish overnight camp with Hirsch's father, John. We've had a picture of Hirsch in our kitchen right next to our table so that every meal we remember Hirsch. I wrote this song last spring for Hirsch and his family with the words Habaita, Machzirim Otam Habaita. We should bring them home now. And this picture remains in our kitchen by our table. Well, the words to this song have a bit of a different meaning now as we remember how important it is for us to bring each and every hostage home. I invite you to sing these words with me. Habaita, machzirim otam habaita, machzirim otam habaita, machzirim otam עכשיו, עכשיו. הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם עכשיו, עכשיו. Survive, this mother cries, and know that the sun above you still shines, and signs are waving, sirens are blaring, calling your name far and wide. Know that we know you're still alive, and soon in each other's arms we will cry. Laughter will lift us up to a place in the sky. We'll look down and see the roads to meaning, and silence streams through hope and healing. And our way back home, הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם עכשיו, עכשיו. No, there will never be words, but we'll always know what we know. Our love will lead us up to a light far above, far beyond the darkness far below. Like a diamond divine, from the depths you will arise, a prism of light. And we'll have dreams like nobody dreams, 'cause only we will know. Only we will know what it's like to return home. הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה. מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם עכשיו, עכשיו, הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם הביתה, מחזירים אותם עכשיו, עכשיו.
מי שברח לחיילי צה"ל. מי שברח, אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו, מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה, באוויר ובים. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו נגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה, ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם, ויעטרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון, ויקיים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני עליכם, ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם, עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם, ונאמר אמן.
He who blessed our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless the fighters of the Israel Defense Forces who stand guard over our land and the cities of our God, from the border of the Lebanon to the desert of Egypt, and from the great sea unto the approach of the Arava, on the land, on the sea, and on the sea. May the Almighty cause the enemies who rise up against us to be struck down before them. May the Holy One, blessed be He, preserve and secure the fighters from every trouble and address and form every plague and illness. And may He send blessings and success in their every endeavor. May He lead our enemies under our soldiers away, and may He grant them salvation and crown them with victory. And may there be fulfilled for them the verse, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you to battle, your enemies for you, to save you.
As we look back over the past year since the tragic events of October 7th, we are reminded of the strength and resilience of our St. Louis Jewish community. In the face of unimaginable loss and grief, we came together with a shared purpose to stand with Israel, support each other, and to take action. from organizing marches to planning solidarity events, opening our homes to share our common grief, and creating spaces for reflection and healing. So many of you played a part in this collective journey. This video is a testament to the power of our St. Louis Jewish community, the depth of our connection to Israel, and the unwavering commitment we have shown to Israel and to one another. Thank you for standing with us, for your efforts, your generosity, and for showing the world what it means to come together as one.
And I'm lighting this candle for all the people that are being held as hostages in Gaza.
Tiny flames of remembrance and hope. Together, we can and must keep those flames burning, determined that they will shine brightly once again.
The effort here at home to show support for Israel, a solemn sight, the empty Shabbat table. It is set up at the Enterprise Pavilion at Shaw Park in Clayton. The goal is to bring attention to the more than 200 hostages being held in Gaza.
This afternoon, a pro-Israel rally was held for victims of anti-Semitism at Frontier Park on South Riverside Drive in St. Charles. Those attending the rally displayed pictures of those missing and taken by Hamas in the October 7th attack on Israel. Chants were led for the return of the hostages.
They're important for the entire world to know that there are hostages right now.
So much grief fills this room tonight as we hold our people's deepest losses and pain from October 7th and throughout this entire year close in our own broken hearts. And also, from this vantage point, so much power and beauty that we can come together as one community, leaving mundane differences aside, finding solidarity in our heartbreak, and in that solidarity, perhaps renewing hope. I know that many in this room tonight know that the Hebrew word for hope is tikva. The word tikva builds from the Hebrew root kav, meaning a cord or a line, or loosely translated, a thread. Sometimes that's all that hope is, just a slender, flimsy thread that we do our best to hold on to. One of the threads of hope that I have been holding on to this year is a teaching that comes from Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook, the first Ashkenazi chief rabbi of what was then known as British Mandate Palestine. This year, at every new loss, at every disappointment, at every heartbreak, I found myself returning to this text. In his teaching, Rav Kook was writing about the Chalutzim, the pioneers who were involved in the incredibly laborious work of digging wells in the land. But if we attune our ears just a bit, in this teaching, we may also hear a call to remain dedicated to the work of hope, to the work of faith, to the work of Ahavat Yisrael, and to the work of peace. Rav Kook writes the following. Right now, there are people doing back-breaking work, digging through the earth in search of fresh water. Eventually, some people give up. They have worked so hard and only see dirt rather than the fruits of their labor. Exhausted and disappointed, they put down their tools and leave. Other diggers are still hopeful that they will reach water. They have faith that their work is not in vain, and eventually they reach a trickle. And their excitement is immense, but then they see that the water is dirty, filled with sand. This discovery is shattering. After all their hard work, they realize that the water is not fit to drink. And so they too despair, and with acute disappointment, lay down their tools and give up. And yet some, with even deeper faith, continue the challenge. They understand that the muddied water is still water and a sign that they have nearly reached their destination. They just need to dig a little deeper. This group renews the digging with even greater energy and effort until they finally reach the pure and flowing water. As we mark this one-year anniversary of October 7th, my prayer for our community is that we may continue to dig deep, to find the strength to turn our heartbreak into acts of hope, acts of faith, and acts of love. My hope is that each of us will share with at least one other person their own kav, their own thin thread of hope that they are holding on to. And in doing so, this community can weave together a tapestry that brings, as has been shared before, light and healing into the world. And my prayer is that this coming year will bring a return of the hostages, a cessation of war, safety for our people wherever they may live, and justice and peace for all the people of the world, as together we say, Amen.
For thousands of years, millions have hoped and prayed that we would live in this sliver of time when we can say that we have an Israel, when we can say that we have a homeland. With prayers that we have safe places to sing and to raise our voice proudly and Jewishly, like we're doing here tonight. This is the hope. The hope is still real. A Jewish home. Israel. This is the time to stand as one. Not now when. We must be strong, our hearts turn to the east. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. This is the hope. 2,000 years, we prayed for freedom, pain and tears. This is our faith. This is our voice. This is our promise. This is our choice, our hearts turn to the east. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. Hatikva, the hope is real. Hatikva, our hope is real. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. Please rise. O Lord, baleva nima nefesh Yehudi omia uvate Mizra nima ma'iletsio Sophia O lo avda tikvatenu Tikva bat shnot apayim Liotam choshim בארצי ארץ ציון בירושלים, בהיותם חושים בארצנו ארץ ציון בירושלים.
On behalf of the St. Louis Jewish Federation, and for all those who were involved in planning tonight's program, I just want to thank everyone for coming this evening. Special shout out to Scott Biondo and our security team for keeping us safe. Thank you, Scott. And so many more people who made this program possible. I'm not going to name them all. I just want to end by saying that we are stronger when we're together. Am Yisrael Chai.